Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV Learning Programs. Once again, I'm Teacher Julius, and today I'm learning with Senior 4 students, Economics. And we are still on our Unit 4, which is Equations and Fractions in Economics. Equations and Fractions in Economics. Then our today's lesson, we are going to see how we apply fractions and ratios in economics. Fractions and ratios in economics. That's our today's lesson. So I expect you at the end of this lesson to be able to know how to apply fractions and ratios in economics. I expect you to be knowing that at the end of this lesson. That's our major objective that you should be able to have at the end of this lesson of 30 minutes. So what is a fraction? So we're saying a fraction is an expression of numbers with a numerator and a denominator. A fraction is an expression of numbers with a numerator and a denominator. For example, what are the examples of fractions? Examples of fractions. Examples of fractions. So here, if we have like 1 out of 2, this is a fraction. And this is a denominator. When you say denominator, then this is a numerator. This is a numerator. The one which is on the top is a numerator, and this one is a denominator. So a fraction shows the relationship between two variables or quantities. And how do you read this? It is read as 1 over 2, 1 over 2. This is a fraction. Even you can have like 3 out of 5. This is also a fraction. So there are two things which are related, a fraction and a ratio. A ratio is a mathematical fraction, as you can see, expressing the values of given variables or quantities. So still, when it comes to a ratio, this is still, it can be a ratio, and we can as well indicate a ratio, like if it is 3 out of 5, we can still indicate this in terms of ratio 3 to 5. So a ratio can be expressed in this form of a fraction or in this form 3 to 5. This is a ratio. So a ratio is a mathematical fraction showing the relationship between or among variables. So like this, 3 out of 5 can also be expressed as 3 to 5. This is a ratio. So we are going to combine the two. We are going to combine the two because they are the same. So if we see 3 to 5, this is a ratio. And again, 3 out of 5, it is a fraction, but at the same time, it is a ratio. So let us see how we apply fractions and ratios in economics. We have our example 1. I want us to write this example. Then we try to see how we can work it out. The cost of producing a basket of pancakes is 2 out of 3. You see now this is a fraction. 2/3. It is 2 out of 3, or it can be read as mathematically as 2/3 of the total revenue. If the total cost incurred, that is, if the total cost of production, total cost made to produce a basket of pan of cakes was 1,800, what was the profit? What was the profit? So in our example 1, how do we go about that? How do we go about that? How do we calculate it? So you have to first find out what you have been given. We have been given, we have the total cost incurred, total cost. The total cost incurred, that is, we can say the TC, they are saying it is 1,800 Rwandan francs. The total costs incurred. Then they are telling us that the cost of producing a basket of pancake is 2/3 of total revenue. So this cost is 2/3. So total revenue now, if you have to calculate total revenue, we have total cost here, so we don't have the total revenue. We have not been given the total revenue. That is what we want. And they are asking us to get the profit. So how do you get the profit? So the profit here, to get it, you must get the total costs, which we have then, rather the total revenue, then you subtract the total costs of production, the total costs of production. But here, we have that the cost of producing this basket of pancakes, it is 2 out of 3 of total revenue. So the cost is 2 out of 3 of total revenue. So total costs is 2 out of 3 of total revenue, of total revenue, of total revenue. Total costs is 2/3 of total revenue, of total revenue. And here we have been given the total costs incurred. So total costs, it is 1,800, which is equal to 2 out of 3 times our total revenue. 1,800 is equal to 2 out of 3 times total revenue. Because it is indicated here, you must know it from this statement. If the total cost incurred to produce a basket of, the cost of producing a basket of pancakes is 2/3 of total revenue. 2/3 of means multiplication of total revenue. And from this, if total costs is equal to 2/3 of total revenue, then you substitute. Then after substituting, we can try to calculate for total revenue here. So if you do this, this is 1,800, which is equal to 2 times the other, that is 2, our total revenue over 3. So out of 1, then what you do here, you can, you cross multiply. So if you cross multiply, then we shall have 1,800 times 3. 1,800 times 3. So that is 5,400, which should be equal to 2 total revenue. So to get our total revenue, you divide both sides by 2. So our total revenue here is equal to, if you get 5,400 and you divide by 2, you will get 2,000, then 700, 1 francs. Meaning that this is our total revenue realized. But our question wants us to get the profit. So you have to come back to this equation. So our profit here, you will get our total revenue, which is 2,700. Then you take away the costs, which is 1,800. So the profit that was realized will be equal to, if you get 2,700, then you take away 1,800, you remain with 900 Rwandan francs. So this was our profit that was realized after producing a basket of pan of cakes. That was the profit realized. So this is one of the applications, how we can apply the fractions. So you have to relate this. To get profit, get total amount of money generated, total revenue, which you get by having quantity times price, then minus total cost. Total cost, you know, it is equal to fixed assets plus fixed costs plus variable costs. You get total costs. That one you know. To get total costs, you get fixed costs plus variable costs. So here you'll be able to get these total costs. Those which don't change with output level plus those which change with output level. So you'll be able to get total costs. When you subtract them from total revenue, then you'll be able to get the profit. Remember total revenue, we said in the previous lesson, to get total revenue, you'll get price of each unit. You multiply the quantity sold, the output. So you'll be able to get the total revenue. I think that is very clear. Remember this simple formulas. Then let's look at application number 2. We have example 2. In spending her income, I want you to read it very well and you understand it. In spending her income, Sandra shares it into consumption and savings. Are we together? I want us to read together and you try to understand it. In spending her income, Sandra shares it into consumption and savings. You know consumption, you know savings. The ratio of her monthly savings to disposable income is 3 to 10. Now here we are applying ratios, is 3 to 10. Then if her ratio of tax to disposable income is 1 to 4, what is the gross income given that she spends 140,000 francs on consumption every month after paying the tax? So I want us to get the information that is within that question. With example 2, how do you work it out? How do we work it out? So we have consumption and savings, and they are telling us that the ratio of monthly savings to disposable income. How do you do that? So here we can first maybe we say let savings be represented by S, then consumption, it can be represented by C. Disposable income, we can say let disposable income be maybe YD. Then gross income, which we are asked, let gross income be our Y. Then we can also let the tax to be represented by T. These initials can help us to analyze our question very well. So the ratio, if we go back to this statement, the ratio of her monthly savings to disposable income. So how do you go about this? So ratio of her monthly savings to disposable income, YD. Savings to disposable income, they are saying the ratio is equivalent 3 to 10. So you have to indicate it in this way, meaning that this 3 represents savings, then this 10 represents the disposable income. Then you also continue and we extract another information. If her ratio of tax to disposable income, the ratio of tax to disposable income, they are telling us it is 1 to 4, which is 1 to 4. And they are telling us, again, that every month she spends 140,000 on consumption. So we have our consumption as 140,000 francs. So they want gross income. Remember here, the gross income, that will be the income before subtracting direct expenses. After subtracting direct expenses, then we get disposable income. Now, from these ratios now, we have to generate some similarities now. So if we work out in this way, we all know that if you get consumption, then you add savings. If you get consumption and you add savings, you are supposed to get your disposable income. So from this statement, we can relate to that. We can say savings over disposable income should be equal to 3 over 10. Remember, I've said if we have a ratio in this way, 3 out of 5, it is the same as 3 to 5. If it is maybe 10 to 15, this is the same as 10 out of 15. You have to know this. If it is 4 out of 5, this is 3 to 5. So the inverse is the same here. So savings out of disposable income is 3 out of 10 from this statement. Again, from this, we do the same. Taxes out of the disposable income, it is equal to 1 out of 4, meaning that this one represents the taxes. Taxes out of our disposable income, it is 1 out of 4 from this. Then from here, we can try to solve our equations and we try to get what we have been asked. So from this statement, consumption is 140. From here, consumption, we have been given consumption 140 plus savings, which we don't have. It is equal to our disposable income, which we don't have also. But from this, you have to look at this statement, which we can use, and we get our disposable income. So here, we can get the value of savings from this, then we substitute it here. We can get the value of savings from this, we substitute it there. So from our equation star, where we have savings over disposable income equaling 3 out of 10. So if you cross multiply this, we shall have 10s, which is savings, equaling 3, YD, which is our disposable income, but we want S. So divide by 10, divide by 10. So our savings here is 3 of disposable income out of 10. So this one, we can substitute it in this. So whereby our disposable income here, our disposable income should be equal to 140, which is consumption, plus savings, but savings is 3 out of 10 YD. Then from here you can solve this, then you get your disposable income. So there are very many ways how you can work out this. What you can do, you can multiply 10 here, you multiply 10 here, you multiply 10 here. But to remove this 10, you can multiply it throughout this equation. So if you multiply 10 here, this will go with this. Then here you must also multiply 10. You must also multiply 10. So we shall have 10YD, which is our disposable income, equaling to, if you get 10, you multiply 140, that is 1,400,000. Then plus 3 disposable income. Then if you bring this side, if you bring this side, if you bring this side, you correct like terms, you remain with 70 disposable income, which is equal to 1,400,000. So to get our disposable income, divide by 7. If you divide by 7, we shall have our disposable income equaling to 200,000 francs. This is our disposable income. But remember, we need the gross income. Gross income, that is the income when you have not subtracted expenses like direct taxes. So our gross income now, what will be our gross income? So our gross income will be equal to this disposable income plus the taxes. So you can calculate the value of taxes, which we shall add there. So from this, taxes out of our disposable income, which we already have 200, should give you 1 out of 4. Then from this, if you close multiply, you will be able to get taxes charged. So 40 is equal to 200. And therefore, when you divide by 4, it means the taxes here, it is 50,000. 200 divided by 4, 50,000. So these are direct taxes that will be charged that will be charged or deducted from your gross income. So our disposable income, our gross income will be your disposable income, then plus the taxes that we have. So this will be 200,000 Rwandan francs plus the 50,000, so which gives you 250,000 Rwandan francs. So this is your gross income before taxes are taken away. So this is your gross income. That is your gross income. So you can see how we can apply ratios in economics by following this example 2 that we have worked out, how we apply ratios in economics. Then I have this question, which I want you to look at. The total revenue generated after selling goods by farm was $400. And the total profits realized after selling goods was 3/4. That is 3 out of 4, which is the same as 3/4, which is the same as 3/4, 3/4 of the total revenue. Find the total costs of the farm incurred during production. I want you to interpret it well. The total revenue generated after selling goods by a farm was this. Remember here, we said the total revenue is the same as, if you were to get total revenue, you will get the price per unit times the output produced. Here you'll be able to get total revenue. We saw this in the previous lesson when we were applying in the previous lesson. Then, after this, the total revenue was this. You have been given total revenue. And they are telling us that the total profits realized in this case after selling those goods were 3/4, 3 out of 4 of the total revenue. Now they want you to get or to find out total costs of a farm incurred during production. Remember total costs? We have grouped them because to get total costs, we have fixed costs, then you add variable costs. Fixed costs, those are costs which don't change with output, like rent. It does not easily change. Then variable costs, they change with output level, like the costs of raw materials. The transport costs may also change. The salaries of workers may also change with output level. So you have to know that. Then as you write this question, you'll be able to find the total cost of the farm incurred during production. So you have to relate your equations very well. The way we did it, you generate this equation because that question is related to example 1. After generating it, find out what you have been given, as we did example 1, where they had told us that total cost is 2/3 of total revenue. You see how we have done it. Then from there, we substituted into this. Then we are able to solve for total revenue. After solving for our total revenue and we got it, then we substituted back into this profit equation, and we are able to get our profit that they had asked us, because we had two variables already, so you can easily find out or calculate the profit. So as you write that work, make sure you try it out and you try to go through again what we have talked about, such that it becomes easy for you to work it out with ease or without difficulties. So thank you very much for watching and listening today's lesson. Hope you enjoyed and hope you have seen how we apply ratios and fractions in economics, and therefore you can be able to apply them. So hope to meet in the next lesson. Thank you. Bye-bye.